Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the road feels uncertain, when the world seems to whisper doubt, and shadows cloud your vision of what lies ahead. But know this, when you are in alignment with your deepest purpose, when you are moving in faith rather than fear, God sends signs. Not always thunderous, not always grand, but always timely. These signs are not mere coincidences. They are whispers of divine guidance urging you onward. First, you will feel an unshakable sense of peace, even in chaos. This peace is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of calm in the middle of it. It is God's quiet assurance that you are exactly where you need to be, that your storm has a purpose, and your soul is being prepared for greatness. Second, doors begin to close, and this is not punishment, but protection. God removes the wrong people, the wrong paths, and the wrong plans, not to cause you pain, but to clear the way for the right ones. When rejection visits, know that redirection is its twin. Third, you will notice unexpected resources arrive. An opportunity, a connection, a sudden inspiration. These blessings are not random. They are answers to prayers you may have forgotten you prayed. They are heaven's way of showing you that you are not alone in the fight. Fourth, there is a deepening hunger for growth. You'll crave knowledge, crave purpose, crave the person you are meant to become. That hunger is divine. It is the voice of your Creator stirring within you, reminding you that mediocrity is not your inheritance. Fifth, the right people appear. Mentors, friends, even strangers who say exactly what you needed to hear, who challenge you, elevate you, and remind you of your worth. These souls are not accidents. They are divine assignments sent to walk with you for a season, or a lifetime. Sixth, you start letting go of what no longer serves you. Habits, mindsets, or environments that once felt comfortable, but now feel limiting. It is the shedding of the old, so that the new can be born. The butterfly must break the cocoon to fly, and finally, you will begin to experience synchronicity. Things align. The right message comes at the right time. You think of someone and they call. A book falls into your hands with the exact truth you needed. This is God's way of affirming your steps, of saying, yes, keep going. I am here. The signs are always there. Look with faith. Walk with purpose and believe, with the conviction of your entire soul, that the universe moves in your favor when your spirit aligns with its divine calling. Divine guidance often comes through subtle yet powerful signs. In a world dominated by noise and distraction, it's easy to miss the quiet language of the divine. We often expect answers to come in the form of grand gestures, miracles that part seas, voices from the clouds, or dramatic shifts in circumstances. But more often, God whispers. He moves in gentle nudges, quiet confirmations, and delicate patterns of events that, at first glance, might seem ordinary. Yet, when viewed through the lens of awareness and faith, those subtle signs become sacred messages, guiding us toward our higher calling. Consider the unshakable sense of peace that settles in your heart despite external turmoil. It's not something the world can give, nor can it be manufactured through logic or planning. This peace, the kind that passes understanding, is a signal that you are in alignment with your purpose. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect, but it means you are on the right path. That deep calm amid uncertainty is not mere emotional balance. It's divine assurance, a sign that you are being watched over and your steps are guided. God's signs often come disguised as disruptions. A job loss, a broken relationship, a door that suddenly shuts in your face. These experiences sting in the moment, but they are often acts of divine redirection. When something doesn't work out despite your best efforts, it may not be failure at all, but rather God's way of protecting you from what's not meant for you. Closed doors are some of the most misunderstood blessings because they challenge our plans. But faith requires trust, not just in what opens, but in what closes. A divine no is still an answer, and often it's the one that leads us to something far greater than we imagined. There is a quiet synchronicity that begins to unfold when you are being divinely led. You start to see repeated numbers, hear the same message in different places, or find yourself in the right place at the exact right time. These moments are not coincidences. They are spiritual alignments, winks from the universe that affirm you're moving in the right direction. God doesn't always speak in thunder. Sometimes he speaks in patterns. Those patterns, when recognized and appreciated, become anchors of reassurance. They tell you that you are not walking alone, that your journey is not random, and that everything is unfolding with divine precision. Another powerful sign comes in the form of people. God sends individuals into your life to uplift, challenge, heal, or teach. Sometimes it's a stranger with the right word at the right time. Other times, it's a mentor, a friend, or even someone you considered an enemy. Each person carries a role in your growth. These connections are not accidental. They are divine appointments, orchestrated with purpose. When your heart is open and your mind is clear, you begin to see that people don't just show up in your life. They are sent, and each one carries a lesson or a gift, whether for a moment or a lifetime. There's also a rise in internal sensitivity. Your intuition sharpens. You begin to feel things more deeply, sense truths beyond what is spoken, and discern the energy of a situation before anything even unfolds. That's not just emotional intelligence. That's spiritual awakening. God often speaks through your inner knowing, the gut feeling that warns you, the sudden inspiration that propels you forward, the still voice within that says wait or go now. These are divine instruments of guidance, but they require stillness to be heard. That's why periods of silence, solitude, and reflection are often necessary. In those quiet places, your spiritual receptors become tuned to the frequency of divine direction. Unexpected blessings are another unmistakable sign, not the ones you worked for or anticipated, but the kind that catch you by surprise, an opportunity you didn't ask for, a need met just in time, a healing that defies logic. These moments are pure grace, evidence that something greater is at work in your life. When you start to see these blessings as intentional rather than lucky, your perspective shifts from anxiety to gratitude. You begin to walk with an awareness that God is not just present, but actively involved in your daily affairs. Dreams and desires that refuse to die, even after years of silence, are signs too. If something is rooted in your heart and keeps coming back no matter how much time passes, it's not random. God places dreams in your spirit not to torment you, but to lead you. That persistent pull toward a vision or mission is a divine breadcrumb. It doesn't matter how impossible it seems. If it's been placed within you, it's there for a reason. Trust that the dream has a life of its own, sustained by something bigger than you. Resistance and spiritual warfare can also be signs that you're on the brink of something significant. The closer you get to a breakthrough, the more intense the opposition may become. Don't mistake resistance as a sign to quit. Often, it's the clearest indication that you are moving in the direction of your destiny. Darkness fights what it fears, and if you're feeling pressure, it's likely because your light is growing. Stand firm in your faith, because divine help isn't always the removal of obstacles. It's the strength to push through them. Faith opens your spiritual eyes to recognize the signs that others might miss. It teaches you that the unseen is just as real as the seen. When you start living with that perspective, every moment becomes meaningful, every challenge becomes a message, and every coincidence becomes a confirmation. Life no longer feels random, it feels guided. That is the essence of divine signs. They transform your perception and give you the courage to move forward, even when the path is unclear. To receive these signs, you must be present. You must slow down, pay attention, and open your heart to the possibility that you are being led, because you are. The evidence is all around you, in the stillness, in the timing, in the people, in the patterns, in the peace. But it takes spiritual maturity to stop asking for louder answers and start trusting the subtle ones. And in that trust, you begin to live not just by sight, but by divine insight. Growth requires letting go, alignment, and unwavering faith. These three pillars are not just lofty concepts. They are essential spiritual disciplines that shape the path to your highest self. Every person who walks the path of divine purpose must confront the tension between comfort and calling. You cannot grow while clinging to what once felt safe, but now keeps you small. Letting go is not weakness. It is strength of the highest order. It is the conscious decision to release control, detach from outcomes, and surrender what no longer serves your spirit. Whether it's an old habit, a toxic relationship, a limiting belief, or even a dream that no longer aligns with your current season, releasing it creates the space where God can move. Letting go feels like loss at first, but it is actually an invitation. An invitation to realign your life with the truth of who you are becoming. There is a divine rhythm to life, and when we resist change, we resist growth. The tree must shed its leaves to make room for the spring bloom. Likewise, your soul must release the weight it was never meant to carry. Sometimes we hold on out of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of pain, fear of being without. But faith asks us to trust that what is ahead is greater than what is behind. And it is in that act of letting go that your true expansion begins. Alignment is the next layer of growth. To be aligned means to live in harmony with your purpose, your values, and the divine plan that has been written for you since the beginning of time. It is not enough to desire success, peace, or abundance. You must align your thoughts, actions, and energy with those outcomes. Alignment isn't passive. It is a daily practice of checking in with yourself and asking, is this choice honoring who I truly am? Is this relationship nourishing my soul or draining it? Is this job or goal still in agreement with my deeper mission? When you live in alignment, things begin to flow. You no longer chase what's not yours. You attract what belongs to you. There is immense power in living from a place of inner truth. Alignment is not about being perfect. It's about being honest. It's about saying yes to what aligns with your growth and no to what doesn't, even if saying no disappoints others. People will not always understand the shifts you make when you start honoring your alignment. They may question your decisions, your silence, your boundaries, but you are not here to live according to their expectations. You are here to follow the divine compass within, and that compass always points toward growth. Unwavering faith is the force that sustains the process. Letting go is hard. Alignment is uncomfortable. Faith is what makes both possible. Faith is not blind optimism. It is the deep, unshakable belief that God is working behind the scenes, even when there is no visible evidence. It is the willingness to keep walking when the path is dark, to keep planting seeds even when the soil looks barren, to keep praying even when the answer hasn't come. Faith is not passive, it is active. It moves mountains not by sheer force, but by persistence, belief, and spiritual tenacity. Every person of greatness, every story of transformation, was built on faith, because there will be seasons where nothing makes sense, where you are misunderstood, isolated, or overlooked. These seasons are not setbacks, they are sacred preparations. God hides you to shape you. He delays answers to grow your character. He stretches your faith so it becomes unbreakable. And in those seasons, you must remember that silence is not absence, and delay is not denial. What is meant for you is already set in motion, but it will arrive only when you are ready to receive it. Faith also empowers you to take risks. You will never reach your destiny if you play small. Playing small may feel safe, but it keeps you stuck in the familiar. Growth requires risk. It requires stepping into the unknown, trusting that even if you fall, God will catch you, and if He doesn't catch you, He will teach you to fly. Every leap of faith is a declaration that you trust God more than your fears, more than your logic, more than your past. That trust becomes the bridge between your current reality and your divine potential. When you combine letting go, alignment, and faith, transformation becomes inevitable. You stop living from a place of survival and start living from a place of vision. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop settling and start believing. Growth is not a straight line. It's a spiral. You may revisit old wounds, face familiar doubts, or walk through similar challenges. But each time, you rise with more wisdom, more resilience, and more clarity. The lessons deepen, your spirit strengthens, and your faith becomes the lens through which you see the world. One of the greatest indicators of growth is your ability to remain grounded in chaos. Life will not always go as planned. People will disappoint you, doors will close, pain will visit, but a person who is committed to growth does not crumble under pressure. They rise, not because they are strong in themselves, but because they are rooted in something greater. Growth is not just about changing your circumstances. It's about changing your posture. It's standing tall in storms. It's remaining kind in cruelty. It's keeping hope alive when hope seems foolish. Spiritual growth also refines your identity. You begin to recognize the difference between who you were taught to be and who you truly are. You begin to unlearn the narratives that no longer serve you, the ones that told you to stay quiet, stay small, stay safe. As you grow, your voice strengthens, your light intensifies, and you begin to walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are divinely supported. That is the fruit of growth, not ego, but awareness, not pride, but purpose. Letting go, alignment, and unwavering faith are not one-time choices. They are lifelong commitments. You will be asked to release again and again. You will be called to realign in every new season. And your faith will be tested when you least expect it. But with each test you rise. With each letting go, you make room for more. With each alignment, you step deeper into your calling. And with each act of faith, you partner with the power that created the stars. The path of growth is not always easy, but it is sacred. Because on this path, you don't just become successful, you become whole. You don't just achieve, you evolve. And in that evolution, you begin to reflect the image of the one who called you. God orchestrates people, timing, and events to support your purpose. Nothing in the divine plan is random. Every person who enters your life, every moment of delay, every closed door, and every seemingly minor occurrence is carefully aligned to guide you closer to your destiny. You may not always see it in the moment. In fact, often it's only in hindsight that the pieces begin to make sense. But the truth is, God is a master weaver, and while you are looking at the tangled threads from beneath, He is creating a masterpiece from above. People come into your life for reasons that may not always be immediately clear. Some arrive to stay for a lifetime, others only for a season. But whether they bring comfort or challenge, each person plays a divine role in your journey. The friend who encourages your dreams, the mentor who challenges you to think bigger, the critic who exposes your weaknesses, the stranger who offers a timely word of hope. These are not accidents. These are divine assignments. They are placed in your path to either teach you, refine you, or push you into your next level. Often, the most challenging relationships are the ones that shape you the most. The people who test your patience, hurt your heart, or trigger your insecurities are not sent to destroy you, but to reveal what still needs healing. Through them, God exposes the cracks in your foundation so He can help you rebuild on truth. Even betrayal can be a divine tool. Joseph in the Bible was sold by his brothers, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. But all of that was necessary to place him in the position of power where he could save a nation. What looks like a setback is often a setup for something far greater than you imagined. Divine timing is one of the most difficult aspects to trust, but one of the most critical to understand. We live in a world that rewards urgency, celebrates instant gratification, and measures success by speed. But God moves on a different timeline, one that honors preparation over haste. He is not interested in quick results that crumble under pressure. He is interested in building you up so that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to carry it with grace. When things feel delayed, it's not because you're forgotten. It's because you're being formed. There are blessings that require maturity to maintain. Imagine receiving something you're not yet prepared to handle. What was meant to be a gift could become a burden. So God, in His wisdom, slows things down. He uses waiting seasons not to punish you, but to equip you. Waiting is not wasted time. It's training time. It is during the delays that your faith deepens, your character strengthens, and your discernment sharpens. You learn to let go of control, to lean into trust, and to find joy not just in outcomes, but in obedience. Timing is also about positioning. There are moments when God is not just working in you, but working in others and in situations behind the scenes. You may be ready, but the people you are meant to impact may not be. The door you are meant to walk through may still be under construction. The opportunity that will change your life might be attached to someone else's journey, and God is aligning all the moving parts. He's not just preparing the blessing for you, He's preparing you for the blessing. Then come the events, those turning points in life that shift your entire trajectory. Some are subtle, like a random conversation that sparks a new idea. Others are more dramatic, a job loss, an illness, a relocation, or an unexpected opportunity. These events are not just happenings, they are divine interventions. They are markers on your spiritual timeline, moments where heaven intersects with your reality and nudges you toward your destiny. Sometimes what feels like disruption is actually divine promotion. You lose a job only to find a purpose. You walk away from a relationship only to discover your identity. You're forced to move, and in that new place, a door opens that never could have appeared where you were before. These shifts can be uncomfortable, even painful, but they carry divine intention. God uses circumstances to position you in the right place at the right time. He moves the pieces around like a master chess player, not for your harm, but for your victory. The beautiful part is that you don't have to force these connections, moments, or outcomes. You don't have to strive or manipulate or worry about how everything will come together. Your responsibility is not to control the process, but to stay faithful to your path. As you walk in obedience, clarity comes. As you show up with integrity, divine connections appear. As you remain open to growth, the right opportunities unfold. The orchestration is not your burden, it's God's brilliance. You'll begin to notice patterns. The people who come into your life start to feel purposeful. The timing of certain events begins to feel too perfect to be coincidence. The way challenges transform into wisdom, how pain leads to passion, how delays turn into destiny. This is the evidence of divine orchestration. And the more you trust this process, the more you begin to move through life with peace. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this preparing me for?" Your faith in this orchestration shapes your mindset. You begin to see divine fingerprints in places where others see only chaos. You begin to find meaning in messes, lessons in losses, and strength in struggles. You stop needing to know everything in advance because you have tasted enough grace to know that God will provide what you need when you need it. That confidence doesn't just inspire you, it transforms how you live, how you speak, how you show up in the world. People, timing, and events, all aligned with divine intelligence, work together like an invisible current pulling you toward your purpose. You are not drifting aimlessly. You are being guided, supported, and equipped in ways that often go unseen but are deeply felt. Even the seasons of silence are orchestrated. Even the delays are calculated. Even the people who leave are part of the plan. Trust that nothing is wasted. Trust that everything is connected. This orchestration is not about perfection. It's about progression. It's not about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning through them. Every person, every delay, every event is part of a greater design, a tapestry woven with threads of purpose and promise. And when you surrender to that design, you don't just live. You live aligned, you live empowered, and you live prepared for all that you were created to be. In the unfolding journey of life, there comes a time when you begin to realize that you were never walking alone. Every step, every misstep, every turn you thought was wrong was part of a grander design guiding you toward your destiny. The signs that God is helping you are not always loud or obvious, but they are always present. They require a spirit attuned to the whispers of the divine, a heart willing to let go of what it cannot control, and a faith that refuses to quit even in the silence. There are moments when the world around you may feel chaotic, when nothing seems to make sense, and you wonder if God has gone quiet. But silence is not abandonment. In those quiet moments, the divine is often speaking the loudest, through peace that makes no sense, through people who show up right on time, through opportunities that feel tailor-made for your growth. If your heart is open and your spirit is alert, you begin to see life through a different lens. You understand that what looks like coincidence is actually divine choreography. Letting go becomes sacred when you realize that your grip on what is safe is keeping you from what is destined. It's in the release that you gain strength, not weakness. The pruning feels like pain, but it is making room for deeper roots and greater fruit. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and instead ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in perspective changes everything. Suddenly, the closed doors, the endings, the disappointments become stepping stones to wisdom, clarity, and transformation. Alignment requires courage. It demands that you walk away from what is misaligned, even when it's familiar, and move toward what your soul knows to be true. It's not about pleasing others or living by old rules. It's about standing in your authenticity and saying, "This is who I am now." And with each act of alignment, you create a life that resonates more deeply with your purpose. The weight of pretending lifts, the noise of confusion quiets, you become a vessel for what is real, and in that space, grace flows freely. Faith, unshakable and enduring, becomes your foundation. When the path is unclear, it lights your steps. When fear tries to rise, it anchors your soul. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to trust even in the face of it. It is waking up each day believing that there is something greater working on your behalf, even if you can't yet see it. Faith turns waiting into preparation, struggle into strength, and uncertainty into sacred trust. And so, when you begin to see the patterns, recognize the people, feel the timing, and sense the orchestration, you understand that your life is not left to chance. God is present in every detail, guiding, aligning, refining, and preparing you, not just for success, but for significance. You are not forgotten, not forsaken, and never without divine help. The signs are there. The support is real, and the journey, even with all its twists and turns, is exactly as it should be.